Welcome back, Wolfskinders. Welcome back. And welcome to a top 15 off of some double summonings. I was going through the list of cards that allow you to have another normal summon, and I think I found them. I think I found them all as best of my abilities, and it looks like all of them are continuous spells. So I have them all lined up, everything I was able to find. So I thought I would share these with you guys. These are in no particular order. These are just ones in case you wanted to have extra summoning for certain archetypes you were needing a little bit more boost. And as you guys know, I do play NR only. So these are the cards that I was able to find in NR. Now there may be more in SR and UR. These are just the ones I wanted to find. I'm pretty much using the master database again, like I normally do when I look up for these types of cards for like my top 10s and stuff like that, when I just want to make a video for Yu-Gi-Oh, stuff like that. So I used the master duel thing. So here we go. Here's the first one. It is called Call of the Mummy, and it says once per turn you can special summon one zombie monster to your hand from your hand. You must control no monsters to activate to resolve this effect. Zombies are pretty interesting. They're pretty much built for the graveyard, so this is actually not really that bad for them if they want to do a little bit more swarming, so they can get people into the graveyard. I didn't actually think that zombies would have an additional summons, to be really honest. I thought most of theirs would just be special summon. So that was actually kind of interesting to find the one for zombies. That actually was pretty interesting. Next we have is Teleport. Once per turn, if your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can pay 100 life points to special summon one psychic type monster from your hand. Now this isn't like your addition. It doesn't say your additional normal summon, but since you are special summoning, you are getting a normal additional. This would probably be most likely like my honorable mention, because it doesn't say an additional normal summon. So this is probably one of my honorable mentions. But for the fact is that psychics are not that bad. There are some good psychics that could always come out, and plus they always pay life points anyway from all the ones I've seen. There's from E-Telly. I know E-Telly is a very popular one for popping some out, but this is not a bad one. And depending on which cards are really good for psychics, I don't normally play psychics, so I'm not entirely sure what would be a good one. But the thing is, from what I can see, it just says special summon one psychic type monster from your hand, so it's not necessarily saying if I'm reading this correctly, it actually can go for the high level ones, because normally a lot of the other there's normally restrictions set on these cards where you have to specifically do a certain level. So this could special summon you a high level one for only like 800 life points. That's if they program this right. If not, then that's still not bad for at least a 4 or lower. But I just thought this would be a pretty interesting one, case there was someone who could probably find a psychic monster they can get special summon out there to get a little bit more stuff here, because it's just as long as you're playing the psychic, 3 copies of this, and then maybe like 3 to 4 copies of your other psychics. That's really not that bad. So you always have a way of getting a psychic out. I really don't know about psychics, so I'm just kind of speculating that's what you could use this for. So there's that one. Next we have Court of Justice. It says during your main phase you can special summon one fairy monster from your hand. You must control a level 1 fairy monster to activate to resolve this effect. You can only use this effect of Court of Justice once per turn. This is another honorable mention, because there is a restriction on this that you have to have a level 1 fairy monster. That's the only thing. But it does allow you to special another fairy from your hand, so you could use it. But this was like I said, one of my almost honorable mentions of this, because of the restriction of having to have a level 1 fairy. Um, I don't really know what fairy you could use. I don't even know if they have a tuner, but um, you could technically use the level 1 as tribute fodder for a fairy because you are special summoning, so you could technically just tribute over the level 1 fairy and get the effect of the level 1 that either sent to the graveyard or what. So this could be like a decent tribute card to work with, but I'm not entirely sure how fairies would use this because mostly from what I understand about fairies is that they are counter productive. They don't want to get blown up, so they want to keep themselves up and running. So Sanctuary and that other trap card that says you don't if you control a monster you don't take any battle damage. So you could technically have like this to keep yourself ready for more attacks, to keep your opponent on the defense. So I don't know. Like I said, just a good honorable mention, Court of Justice. But I don't know. Maybe someone who plays fairies might be able to find some use for this card. Next card we have is Water Hazard. Once per turn, you can special summon one level 4 or lower water monster from your hand. You must control no monsters to activate or to resolve this effect. This one I have used a lot in low level water decks. I use this one with Hammerhead Shark because it allows me to use an additional summon. It allows me to use activate Water Hazard, summon Hammerhead, activate Hammerhead's effect, special summon another one, and then normal summon, and then go into my plays. That's normally the combo to go off of if it works, but sometimes it doesn't go off. But with water, it's pretty good to have a lot of ways to special summon since there's so much water in the deck. Water attribute just gets a lot of support because of how vast it is. Like you can make like 1,000 water decks and they'll hardly be the same. They may have the same tech cards, but they'll hardly be the same cards. So this is a really good card to have. Okay, next we have is Herculean Power. Once per turn, if your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can special summon one level 4 or lower Gemini monster from your hand. Geminis are bad. There's really not a whole lot to do with them. There is a couple of them, and the artwork does show the one that's normally halfway decently good. I don't know his name, but I know he's played a lot because he's like the only halfway decently good one. But that's about it. But like this is landlocked to Geminis, so this is like an honorable mention because yeah, Geminis are just really bad. But you know, it's part of the theme that I was going for. So hey, got to give some Gemini some love. You know what I'm saying? So here you go, Geminis. Here's your card. All right, next is Worm Call. Once per turn, if your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can special summon one reptile worm monster from your hand to face down defense position. Worms are like Geminis. Worms are bad. They've got some good cards that could be fine, but most of them, like, there's only a very, very small selection of worms that really do nothing. But again, this one right here has that same stipulation where it doesn't say what level, so it says you can special summon any reptile worm monster face down in defense position and then use your normal summon to flip it face up and use its effect. So there might be something here, but again, this is worm, so the likelihood of even getting using this is very tricky. Now, if it just said special summon a reptile monster and face down to defense position, oh, this would be really good. Reptiles need more support, but since this is worms are, like I said, with its reading correctly, you can pretty much special summon any of them in face down defense position. So, yeah, it's just you'd have to really like build around the worm that you're about to face down. Next is Fire Fist Tensu. Says during your main phase you can normal summon one Beast Warrior monster. In addition to your normal summon, you can only activate this effect once per turn. All beast monsters you control gain 100 attack. I use this pretty heavily. Like I said, with Waters, Beast Warriors, Wing Beast, and Beast, I try to really I try to really build decks around. So Beast Warriors really are glad to get another extra summon. With it being a fire formation, you can definitely mix and match some brotherhoods with some other beast warriors to really get a good combination going off, especially when you're playing NR. So this is always good. The additional 100 attack, it does come in handy. It's a good little bump up. So playing a pure beast warrior, it really does make it to where your extra deck gets over that problematic card a little bit. And then also, when you're trying to go for lethal with certain cards like Psychic Blade, is really good, or even just Mage Power, or you can even go for Axe of Despair. But the additional summons is really good for Beast Warriors to have, because Beast Warriors don't really, other than Ancient Warriors, one of the Ancient Warriors, they really don't have a lot of special summoning going on. So this is really good to have in a Beast Warrior deck. Next is a Predaplant card. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but once per turn you can special summon one level 4 low Predaplant monster from your hand or graveyard, but its effect is negated. Its negated effect even if this card leaves the field. Once per turn during your stand 5 phase, pay 800 life points or destroy this card. I'm not sure about Predaplants. I don't really play them because there's like I said, the restrictions that I put on myself. There's nearly not a lot of Predaplants to really run to understand how this would work. But I guess if you're using the Predaplant engine and you needed more, and you wanted to save your normal summon for something else to get your other engines going, because every Yu-Gi-Oh deck's about an engine. So because you would normal summon one of the I think it's Cobra, I think it's either Cobra or Scorpion, to search the other one and then grab Polymerization, and then that way you can even grab this card back from the graveyard on your next turn by paying the 800 life points, which is very minuscule, by the way, which is really not a cost. It's more of like, yeah, I'll definitely pay for that. But if not, at least it's a good way of getting other cards started. So you could technically just, special summon one of the other 4. I think it's like a 4 or 3, and then go into like Lynx or Xyz, depending on how you run the decks. But this isn't a bad card, I do know that. So any way of, even though it's special summoning from the graveyard, it does say hand. So that's why I put it on there, because the hand is really what was the main course. Graveyard just happened to be a good secondary. Next card we have is Vampire Domain. Once per turn you can pay 500 life points during your main phase. This turn you can normal summon one vampire monster in addition to your normal set. Even if this card leaves the field, you can only activate this effect once per turn. Each time a vampire monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent's life points, gain the same amount of life points. This is, to be really honest, I don't know how vampires run. I've never played vampires. I just knew that the normal summon, all I know is that there's one vampire that does the whole chain reaction of it, and that's about it. Because you want to get your high-ranking level 6s out. Because if I'm not mistaken, vampires is a level 6 XC spam deck that uses vampires for that, and I think that's pretty much it from what I understand of vampires, is they only want to XC into dark rank 6 ones. So that's not as bad really. And like I said, any additional normal summon to get your plays going is really good. So I think they play this card, if I'm not mistaken. I think vampires do play Vampire's Domain, just because um, they're able to normal summon, activate effect, activate this, tribute summon over it, and then start going into their plays a lot quicker. So to get the cards going off, I think they use like Familiar and Retainer for this, if I'm not mistaken. So, like I said, this is I think this is what one of the cards that they use. This is one of the cards that I was able to find out, but I think this is one of the cards they use. All right, next card is Silent Optimization. If your Code Talker monster battles, your opponent cannot activate card or effects until the end of the damage step. Really don't care about that. During your main phase, you can immediately after this card resolves normal summon one cyber monster. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except cyber monsters. Even if this card leaves the field, you can only use this effect once per turn. This is an honorable mention because I think this gives you an additional summons. When I was reading it, it sounded like it gives you an additional summons, but I could be off. So this is more of an honorable mention because this may only give you one summon and that's it. So yeah, this is an honorable mention. I know that there is other monsters that other Cerberus monsters that give you additional summons if you control another Cerberus monster, because it already has it has some of the cards in the artwork that do it. I think it's her that says if you control a Cerberus monster, give a normal special summoner. So, like I said, this is a very honorable mention. I don't know if most people if Cerberus use this, but like I said, this is a very honorable mention. Next card we have is Madoche Salon. During your main phase, you can normal summon one Madoche monster in addition to your normal set. You can only activate this card once per turn. If a Madoche monster you control or in your graveyard is added to your hand or shuffled into your main deck by card effect, set one Madoche spell trap directly from your deck, except Madoche Saloon. You can only use this effect once per turn. The additional summon is good. Like I said, any additional normal summon is really good for any deck. The Madoches do shuffle themselves back in the deck by card effect. So I think they actually run this card. The problem is I don't know what spell or trap they set from their deck. I don't know which one, but I do know that they like to shuffle themselves from the graveyard back into the deck once they're destroyed by battle. So I do know that that's really good. What card they set, I do not know, but I would probably assume that they definitely do run Salon because of that. So that's really good. I just don't know what card they run because I hardly don't run a lot of archetypes. All right, next card is Transmiscus, or however you say it. If for the first time each Magnus monster equipped with an equipped card would be destroyed by battle each turn, it is not destroyed. You can only use one of these effects following the effects once per turn and only once that turn. During your main phase, you can special summon one level 4 spell caster monster from your hand. During your you can send this card face up card to the graveyard, special another a number of Magus monsters with different monsters names from your hand. I'm building a spellcaster deck, and this is when I was able to find this. I don't know about the other deck, but I guess it is kind of an additional normal summon because you can send this card. You can send this card to the graveyard and add another and special summon another one of its brethren from your hand. So that is another additional summon. So there's 2 additional summons that you can do with this. Again, this is more of a special summon, but it's the theme of it. So this is actually really good. I'm not entirely sure what I know the deck is for some reason it is a fusion XC equipment deck. Equipping to either your monster or your opponent's monster, and doing stuff like Vylons like to do with you. So still doing some experiments, but I just thought this is pretty much the one that started this whole tier list. So that's why this is why this is on here. Next one we have is Fairy Tale Tales. You can reveal 1 spellcaster monster from your hand with 1850 attack and with a different name than the monster you control. Immediately after this is resolved, normal summon it. You can only use the effect of this card once per turn. The first time each turn you would take damage or affect damage while you control spellcaster with the original attack with the 1850. You take no damage. Again, this is a honorable mention because you have to have a specific attack level, and this most likely probably would do with like the Charmers and the Fairy Tales. So I really don't know, but this is mostly a very honorable mention for this tier list, because I couldn't figure out if I should put this on, but it does give you it. So depending on the cards that you use and what you do with it, because the only cards that get used is Fairy Tale Snow, and that's only to banish like 5 cards from your graveyard to special summon and to keep recurring bodies on the field, because you don't really need your graveyard. So like I said, a very honorable mention. So yeah. Alright, next one is Cremolian Temple Tyrillian. If you control no monsters and all your opponent and all the monsters you control are Cremolian monsters, you can pay 500 life points immediately after this is resolved. Normal summon 1 Cremolian monster from your hand. If a Cremolian or number XYZ monster you control would activate its effects by discarding, you can send this card to the graveyard instead of one of those materials. You can only activate this card once per turn. An honorable mention. This card, I've seen some people say that this deck is okay. The additional effect of discarding this card instead of a material is really good, because this gives you, depending on how many, let's say on average you get 2 materials, so this gives you an additional 3rd one. So this isn't bad. I just do not know what this deck does. But because since it's landlocking you into an archetype, I have no idea. This is an honorable mention. So because I absolutely have no idea what this deck does. But hey, additional normal summon depending on the level can go into a number monster or a Crimean monster. So it must be some type of really heavy XC monster. Considering that this card has to do with XC material, that means that this deck is really heavy on bringing them out. So I guess this would be really good then, because you're using this as material to keep more material on your monster. So if they use this card, they're using it pretty well to use more of their materials. So because it's really good. Alright, the last card is TG All Clear. All TG monsters on the field become machine monsters. During your main phase, you can normal summon 1 TG monster. In addition to your normal summon, you can only activate this once per turn. During your main phase, you can destroy 1 TG monster on your field, and if you do, add a TG monster with a different name from your deck or graveyard to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. I don't play TGs, but knowing that you get in it, but reading this, reading it, I kind of can see what it wants to do. So you normal summon another one, you pop it, you pop the TG monster, you grab a monster, you special summon, and then judging from what I can see from the artwork and how this is worded, uh, you synchro summon or XC summon a lot. Um, I have seen some TG monsters that are synchro summoned, so apparently that's a synchro summon deck. So this deck probably wants to get enough material to start going into it, but at least I can see why they would need their additional summons to get some of their effects off. But that's just me speculating on how this deck functions. But I want to thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, I'm glad that you did. If I find anything, if I find anything more like these, I will continue to do so. I just thought this would be a nice good. I thought this would be a nice good. I thought this would be a nice good video for it to do to do. So I was like, yeah, this sounds pretty good. But all right, guys, I will see you guys next time. So you guys take care, be well, be safe, have fun. Bye, everyone.